except for Brandon, who likes to rake leaves. Keep that in mind. Today's program is going to be from the Rotary Foundation for Muskegon County. We'll start with, as always, with a Pledge of Allegiance, a little literacy lesson, and then the invocation by Alan Alpert. So to begin, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as Alan comes up, I will share a little literacy. Last week, we talked about poetic literacy. Today, we're going to talk about scientific literacy, which is defined by using prior knowledge, using scientific knowledge, evaluating sources, distinguishing between reliable and unreliable sources. If you are able to offer explanations that are valid and testable. My favorite physicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, has said, science literacy is a vaccine against the charlatans of the world that would exploit your ignorance.
And before we start, an announcement, a commercial. We need invocation reflectors for November. If you're interested, see me afterwards. In different traditions, there are stories of the creation of the universe and the creation of human beings. And I like to share one of those stories, especially at this time of year. And you ask the question, what, this time of year? What does that mean? Well, in case you don't know it, in about 5 days, there is an election. So what people tend to do, not the majority probably, but many will say, if you're that side, you're evil. If you're on that side, you're evil, and that you should only perish in an unhappy place. However, I like to share a story of creation. It comes from the Bible. And the Bible, as you may or may not know, is not always clear. And so the rabbis have a field day, and probably we're talking about maybe when it's written down as 1st century before the Common Era to maybe a couple hundred years after that. They see the story of creation when God creates the first human being. And God takes earth from the one particular place. And the angels in the high said, don't stop. And God says, why? What's wrong? Said, if you take from this one place, whoever's made in that image is going to feel better, that they're better than anyone else. And God said, you have a good idea. So God created the first human being from the 4 corners of the earth. And the word in Hebrew is Adam. It comes from earth, Adam, Adamah, and it's the color reddish. And if you take a look, I think, at all human beings, if you take a look at the palms of their hands and the soles of their feet, it's that reddish color, and it's very difficult to tell anything. So that's the idea of seeing people created in the divine image. Whatever that means to you, whether that be in Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, or whatever tradition, the idea at this time where it's easy to be diverse and to divide people is to understand that we all are, I think all of our traditions come from that. We take the time to go into our own tradition to think of the place of the holiness of each and every human being. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. My goodness, we have a lot to think about. You have 10 minutes to do that, and then we will reconvene as a Rotary meeting. Ready? Okay, I hope everybody got all their talking done. There may not be another opportunity for a while. But right now, we have the honor of introducing our guest. So if our host, Jenny McNeil and Ryan Sturkenberg and Eileen Stoffen, Christine Robert and Heidi all have guests.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ryan Sturkenberg, and I'm very happy to introduce Casey Wallakonis. Casey is an IT solutions specialist from Hayden Technology. He's also a local resident here. Hayden Technologies has over 400 plus partners in the industry, as well as 24/7 managed service provider based out of Michigan. If you want to know more, see him. Welcome.
Yeah. I'm Heidi Seitzema, and I'm happy to introduce Deanna Giles. She is the new scholarship program coordinator at the Community Foundation, and you'll be hearing a little bit more about her and her role in our program today. Deanna?
Good afternoon. I'm Eileen Stoffen. I'm very happy to introduce to you Chris Hamill, who is a volunteer in many organizations in our community. She is also running for Muskegon Public Schools School Board to retain her seat. She's incredible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to bring with me JJ Lewis. JJ just joined the United Way staff September 1 or on or about, and is our Chief Development Officer at United Way. So welcome, JJ.
Got it. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny McNeil. I brought with me my husband, Kevin Barry. He works at the district court. He's a magistrate. So we've been out on the campaign trail. So I figured least I could do is buy him lunch, right?
I want to introduce Marty, who's going to introduce the students from Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge.
Thanks, I'll clarify that. All right, yeah, scooch on over, guys. Good afternoon, Rotary. Please join me in welcoming our friends from Oak Ridge. All right, to introduce two of the seniors at the high school is Kurt Kieskin. He is one of the counselors.
Yeah, so with me, I have senior members here, senior class, top, I would say what, top 5, both of you, right? So we have Jacqueline Way and we have Michael Thompson.
My name is Jacqueline Way. I participate in quite a few clubs at Oak Ridge. I am actually a past president of the Interact Club at our school. So nice to see you again. I plan on attending the University of Michigan after. On the Hale Scholarship, actually, which I was awarded this past week. So yeah, and I plan on being a physician. Thank you.
My name is Michael Thompson. I play soccer and I run track. I'm part of NHS and I plan on going to Muskegon Community College on the Muskegon Promise.
Here.
Thank you. And now we have the other part of the Seitzema team. Heidi is going to introduce our program.
Thanks, Jane. Am I good? Okay, thanks. Today's program is a Community Foundation update, so you'll be hearing a little bit more from me yet in that. But Todd Jacobs is our president, and he normally would be here to present part of this, but is away at a funeral today. So instead, we have Janelle Mayer pitching in to take over his part in addition to her own. She is our vice president of community investment and has been at the foundation for 12 years. She's a Montague native who got an ecology degree from the University of Michigan and then became a ski instructor in Australia, as you generally do with that. She met her husband there and they returned to Montague and settled here and have 3 kids that they're raising there. You'll also be hearing from Eric Messing, who's a member here at Rotary. He will be sharing a bit of a Frauenthal Center update. He's been our executive director there for the last 5 years or so, has over 20 years experience in theater and nonprofit. He has a master's in fine arts in theater management from Wayne State and lives with his lovely wife, Carla, and their rescue dog, Milton. And then, like I said, you'll get a little bit of me. I'm Heidi Seidsma. I have been with the foundation for 16 years, currently as the Vice President of Development and Donor Services. It's ridiculous. I have to check my own notes to tell you about myself, but I have an accounting degree from Calvin University and live in downtown Muskegon with my husband, Marty, and our 2 dogs and none of our 3 kids at the moment. So yeah, Janelle.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Heidi, for that introduction. I'm Janelle Mayer, Vice President, Community Investment with the Community Foundation, and glad to provide an update here today. It's been about a year since we last presented to Rotary, so hopefully you'll learn a little bit of something new about what we've been up to and also get a hint of or a taste of what's to come in the future. But I'm going to start as we start all of our presentations with outlining, sorry. Had it upside down. And then I knocked the battery out. Goodness gracious, sorry about this. There we go. Okay, with outlining our values, visions, and strategic focus areas. So the values of the Community Foundation are to provide hope and opportunity, particularly for our youth, to make decisions in a collaborative way and use community goal setting to move things forward, and also to build an inclusive community. And we look at using all of those values when we're doing the work that we're doing to implement our vision, which is to create a vibrant community with great opportunities for all. We execute that through our 3 strategic areas of focus. So we're looking at making grants and providing leaderships in the area of education, specifically educational equity and literacy, focus on lifelong literacy. Also diversity, equity, inclusion, make grants and provide leadership there, as well as community and economic development. And there we're looking specifically at business support, so supporting our small business and our entrepreneurs, as well as workforce support. So things like affordable and accessible daycare, transportation, and affordable housing. So now I get to talk a little bit about the work that happens in the community investment department, which is my team. In the past 3 years, since we've had this strategic plan in place, and those are our focus areas, we've made grants of about $1.4 million to impact community programs in that area. I do want to clarify the Community Foundation as a whole probably has made grants of closer to $30 million during that time. But when we were looking at the dollars where we have discretion over where they're deployed in the community, it's been around that $1.4 million. And we've invested in programs like pre-K literacy coaches. I see Randy here. We've helped to, in partnership with the IDSC, we've made sure that there's literacy coaches in all of our elementary schools in the county to ensure that our teachers have access to the best practices and skills to help with that foundational literacy that we know is so important. We've also partnered with Muskegon Community College on the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Ken James is a leader there, and we've helped to make some grants to supersize that program and be sure that they're able to provide resource to the community around implicit bias training and DEI training that we know our community wants and needs. More recently, we've partnered with the Career Tech Center on a program called Middle Vision that allows for some career exploration, design thinking, and problem-solving opportunities for our middle school learners. They're piloting that program in Muskegon and Orchard View schools, and we look forward to seeing the impact of that and seeing that expand. Community Foundation also has a tool called program-related investments that instead of a traditional grant, like you think about from foundations, it's a loan that we're able to deploy in areas of our strategic focus. And so in the past couple of years, we've partnered with the city of Muskegon to help with some new construction housing in Jackson Hill that'll be, offered at market rate for community members. But we've also partnered with Community Encompass to provide some new construction affordable housing targeted at individuals that are at that 80 to 120% area median income. And during COVID, we partnered with Grow to offer business working capital loans for our small businesses who needed that support during the shutdown, and then migrated that to recovery loans for businesses that were looking to reopen in a post-COVID world. We've been a partner with Muskegon Community College on Food, Agriculture, Research and Manufacturing, or FARM, which is a food processing incubator. It currently has 2 bays that are occupied with businesses that are not quite ready to have their own brick and mortar space, but they've outgrown a Kitchen 242 or a church kitchen, and so provides that interim supports while they're looking to grow in our community. We've implemented some small grants program, including our community empowerment small grants program that supports our grassroots organizations in doing their good work. And we also just wrapped up a Watch Us Vote grant campaign that provided grants to nonprofits to help with civic engagement, helping to get out the vote and helping with voter registration. We continue to invest in our Kickstart to Career program, which we kicked off several years ago and now has nearly 10,000 kids countywide, grade K through 4, who already have a savings account for future college or career. It started in their name by grants from the Community Foundation. In the area of housing, we know that that this is something that comes up a lot right now, right? Affordable housing is a topic of conversation in a lot of circles. And so we're partnering with area municipalities and some nonprofits. I see Christine at the United Way to figure out what type of resource might be available countywide to provide support around housing, affordable housing for everybody at all income levels. And so that'll be a resource for developers, for municipalities, and for organizations. And with our scholarship program, I'm so excited about the addition of Deanna Giles. Deanna, you want to stand up? She has her business cards here today. So Kurt from Oak Ridge, make sure you grab her business card and connect with you. She comes to us with some great lived experience in terms of the value of a scholarship to help you access higher education. She's bilingual and she has great perspective on making our scholarship program more equitable and doing some great outreach around it. So we're excited for the future of that program. We also, through that scholarship program, have some adult student scholarships that a program we've been able to put into place that supports adult students who are returning, they're already living here in this community. They're probably raising a family and they're returning to continue their education. So helping them overcome some of the barriers that they may face in continuing that work. And we're exploring what it might look like to implement a reverse scholarship program. So instead of a traditional scholarship that's provided to a student before they're entering, continuing their education, it's instead provided after they've completed their degree and they're returning to a community to help fill a needed talent gap that we have here. That's something we're looking into right now, and we hope to be able to share more on that soon. In terms of community leadership and nonprofit capacity, we've done expanded work in terms of community engagement and capacity building for our nonprofits. We've been able to leverage outside grants to bring resources into the community. And we've also worked on increasing our advocacy efforts, and we hope to have more to share there as well in terms of future efforts around advocacy for the community. I'm going to pass it to Heidi now.
Right. Okay. Great. Thanks, Janelle. So where do the resources come from to do this kind of work in the community? Historically, the Community Foundation world talks about our work using 3 words: give, grow, and grant. Generous people like yourselves give to the Community Foundation to support something it is that they care about in Muskegon County. What makes us different than other nonprofits is that we don't typically spend those gifts. We instead invest them and grow them. And then we use that investment growth to make the grants back into the community that Janelle referred to. So historically, the Community Foundation world has been made up of donors who are largely older, wealthier, and white. And our Community Foundation is similar to that. Where we are not similar to other community foundations in the area is, maybe you caught when Janelle was referring to the amount of grant dollars that we can make that we have discretion over. Our community foundation is one of the top 5 or 6 in the state of Michigan in terms of size, but the percentage of our assets that are discretionary for the foundation to put toward these strategic goals is actually really small comparatively for what community foundations usually see. Most of our funds that we hold have some direction in them from the donors as to what they are to support, whether it's a specific nonprofit or whether it's a general field of interest. So In our development team, as we look toward those strategic goals and work through this plan, we said pretty much we feel like our job is to build some financial support for this strategic work, and then to try to diversify our constituent base, whether that's donors, whether that's our nonprofit partners or professional advisors, et cetera. So in order to do that, we have a couple of different avenues we've been pursuing. One is to promote the Greater Muskegon County Fund. That's been in existence for most of the 60 or so years we've been around, and it's an unrestricted fund that anyone can give to at any time and any amount. In fact, if you pulled out your phones right now, you too could make a gift online to the Greater Muskegon County Fund if you wanted. And we also have a number of donors, some of whom are in the room here today, who have created unrestricted funds in their own names that support the strategic work. And on your tables, there's a flyer that has some of the grant programs that we've supported in the last year on one side, and it has a list of those strategic fund holders and unrestricted fund holders on the other side. So you can take a look at those and say a little note of thanks in your mind for those. So in order to incentivize giving to this, we have created a new category that we're calling strategic funds. Historically, again, the Community Foundation has had a fund minimum to create a named fund that's permanent in your own name or in someone's name that you love. It takes $10,000 or more to do that. And that can be a barrier, right? So what we've done to try to incentivize these unrestricted funds or funds that are created to support one of our 3 strategic areas of education, community and economic development, and diversity, equity, and inclusion, you can actually start a fund supporting one of those areas for $5,000. So at half price, if you like a deal. And again, we realize that that's still a pretty big check for many of us to sit down and write. All of the Community Foundation funds have the opportunity of building. You can build a fund for over up to 5 years. But with these strategic funds, we have actually extended that. So you can build up to that $5,000 minimum over up to 10 years, meaning that a $500 annual gift and a commitment over 10 years means that you too can have a fund that supports this really important work forever in the community. So again, we're trying to incentivize the gifts toward unrestricted purposes, and then also really trying to make becoming a fund holder at the Community Foundation something that's within reach and attainable for much more of our community. In addition to that work, we also have been working with our existing donor advised fund holders. And those are basically people who have kind of personal charitable giving accounts within the foundation that they can use to support any of the things they care about. We still support them to do that, but we're asking them actually to consider co-investing with us on some of these strategic grants that we've made. And a number of folks chipped in to support the Kickstart to Career program and chipped in to support putting the literacy coaches in the classrooms. And so we're grateful for that. We've also started adding some of our Community Foundation wishes to our community wish list that we put out a couple times each year to encourage folks to consider chipping in toward those smaller goals as well. Like for $500, you can start 10 Kickstart to Career childhood savings accounts, or for a grant of $500 from your fund, you can chip in and help create an adult student scholarship. Then we also have created what we call a lead giving circle, and that stands for Leading Efforts Against Discrimination. And that has been an attempt to try to, again, diversify our donor base, people who are connecting with the Community Foundation. So we have sought out members, again, some of whom are in the room here, a couple of whom are pictured, who are age 50 and under, who represent all of the diversity that Muskegon County has to offer, whether that's race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender, religion, all those different kinds of things. And each one of those members, there's about 40 of them now, have committed to giving a $400 gift per year, $34 a month. And that group, of that $400 that they each give, half of that stays within the Community Foundation in the lead fund to build up the first permanent DEI focused fund that the Community Foundation has. And then the other half, they collectively decide together what grant to make each year. And we were excited. Just a couple weeks ago, the group met and voted, and they voted to make a grant of $7,000 to the Business Equity Initiative Fund, which you may have remembered hearing about. Yeah. Our fellow Rotarians, Nancy McCarthy and Marianne Gorman and friends, launched that effort to help provide business startup and growth resources for businesses owned by women of color here in Muskegon County. And the final thing I want to share is about planned giving. That's always a part of our work, encouraging everybody to think about leaving something in your estate to support something that you love in this community. And this is not just for wealthy people, this is all of us. And if we all do it, it can make a huge difference in this community. We have learned that 70% of people tend to give charitably during their lifetime, but only 1 in 10 take that extra step to leave a gift in their estate. And we think we can do better than that in Muskegon County. We know we're a generous community, and if we all put our efforts toward it, we can get there. And in the words that I love to quote from our former leader, Chris McGuigan, where there's a will, we want to be in it. So before I turn it over to Eric to talk about the Frauenthal, I just want to make sure everyone knows about our upcoming annual gathering. It's next week, Thursday, in the Frauenthal. It's a free community event open to all. We're doing it in partnership with Muskegon Area District Library. Thank you, Ron and Sarah, wherever you are here. Bringing in speaker Matt De La Pena, who is an award-winning author, but started out as a low literacy student. So we'll get to hear from him. And we will also be, as the Community Foundation, awarding our 2nd annual Impact Award. And it's super secret. I can't tell you who's getting it, but you'll be excited when you hear it. So, Eric.
Thank you, Heidi. I am Eric Messing, Director of the Frauenthal Center, and it's my pleasure to be able to share with everybody all the excitement we have been experiencing over the past year. The mission of the Frauenthal Center is to engage the region through a diverse range of arts and entertainment. And again, I'm happy to be able to share with you a few highlights of how we are achieving that mission. We have launched a free family movie day series. This series occurs on select Sundays at 3 p.m. every single month of the year. So this past month, we showed Hocus Pocus to over 450 patrons. Upcoming movies highlights include White Christmas in December and The Wizard of Oz next spring, among several others. We have implemented a facility use strategy. So this allows organizations that have not rented at the Frauenthal Center before up to 50% discount on their rent. So your values have to coincide with the values of the Community Foundation, but there are more details on our website in a form you can fill out if you want to apply for that program. We conducted a preservation campaign. We set out with a goal of $5.1 million. I am happy to share that we successfully raised $6.4 million. And I would like to thank everyone in this room. Yes. The businesses, individuals, and organizations that supported that campaign to make the preservation campaign a success. So what were we able to do? This allowed us to facilitate multiple building improvements. Some of those highlights include, which you may very well be aware of because round 2 just finished, heated sidewalks along the perimeter of the facility. We installed a new HVAC system, which turns over the air in the lobby and theater 6 to 8 times within 24 hours. We have 102 new energy efficient windows. We have an upgraded marquee with new LED lighting and digital display screens. And we also restored the terracotta facade. So what's coming up in 2023? We will be rebuilding the stage in July and also installing a completely new sound system. This is a major improvement internally for the Frauenthal. So those are some highlights for 2023. We did increase the diversity of cultural offerings through our presenting series and our season offerings. I just want to highlight a little bit of October. We've come off of a very busy October. Our presenting season launched at the beginning of the month with Beatles versus Stones, a musical showdown. We hosted over 1,000 patrons. Following that up, we had our Collins Fund performance of Tiempo Libre. Again, we welcomed over 1,000 patrons. And last weekend, we presented comedian Jim Belushi in the Board of Comedy, again, to over 1,000 patrons. So we're seeing that people are feeling comfortable and coming back after, well, at this point in our COVID journey. So that's been exciting. Some other presenting highlights in the spring. Well, this December, we'll be presenting the Nutcracker with the West Michigan Youth Ballet. And then next year, we'll be bringing in Black Violin and Detroit 67. So in addition to our presenting series, obviously, we're home to the West Michigan Symphony and Muskegon Civic Theater, but anybody can rent the facility. And we've had some significant rentals in October. One of them being Swan Lake. I don't know if anybody had the opportunity to see this production, but it was the World Ballet Series. And I have gotten so much feedback that this was such an exquisite production, high caliber production. This, they had a great experience, the tour, and they're looking at bringing back productions of the Nutcracker and Cinderella in the future. So this was a success for us. We also announced a rental, the comedian Joe Gatto in November. Within 2 weeks of this event going on sale, we sold over 1,000 tickets. So again, people are returning to the Frauenthal. And just so everyone's aware, we are a destination for weddings and special events. This summer alone, from the 4th of July weekend to now, we have hosted well over 24 weddings, sometimes up to 3 weddings in one weekend. So we're definitely a place to experience it all. I know I'm running short on time, so I just want to share with you one more development at the Frauenthal. You may all be familiar with Smash Wine Bar and Bistro and aware that it is no longer located on the lower level of our facility. We have opened with the West Michigan Symphony this season, being our first event, the Frau Lounge in that space. So we have completely renovated that area to be an event space. So think rehearsal dinners, engagement parties, celebrations, birthdays, corporate events, holiday parties. It's a great place, and we're booking now for the season yet. So if you're looking somewhere to hold your holiday event and special event, please think of the Frau Lounge, but the capacity is 100 people down there. So those are some of the highlights just in the past year of the Frauenthal. And with that, I think we can open it up to questions for Heidi, Janelle, or myself.
Is it to rent the Frau Lounge, and what do you offer there?
The Frau Lounge, it's $650 for an outside rental, but if you're renting the facility and you're tacking it on with another rental, it's only another charge of $250. We don't offer food service, but we do have a catering kitchen. So if you wanted to have, like, for example, the West Michigan Symphony had a dessert reception. If you want to offer food, we do have that capability. We don't have our kitchen license, but we have a catering kitchen, and we have our liquor license. So we're able to offer a full bar.
I just wanted to.
Don't go away.
Is this? Oh, here we go. I just wanted to say that the Collins presentation was probably the most diverse audience I've seen in the Frauenthal in a very long time, and it was wonderful to see people smiling and dancing with each other in the aisles, and it was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yes, there was a conga line in the Frauenthal. Any other questions for Heidi, Janelle, myself? All right. Thank you for your attention, everybody.
Thank you for this presentation, and it was so thorough that you answered all the questions before we got a chance to ask them. That was wonderful. I want to thank you by we're making a contribution to the Malala Fund that is promoting literacy for girls in many areas of the world where it's just not a natural thing. So thank you for that. And now we have birthdays. Brandon Davis has a birthday on November 3rd. Roger Spoolman on November 3rd. Bill Erickson on November 5. Kevin Donovan on November 6th. That's great. And we have a couple of birthday people here that are going to share their birthday with us. So as they bring up their present, we will sing Happy Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Now is the time for our member spotlight. We try in Rotary to look at our membership as a rich and diverse as our community. And one important part of that is vocational service. So we'd like to take this time to spotlight one of our members and to find out what they do when they're not here. And today we are going to have a spotlight Tom Palmer.
My name is Tom Palmer. I joined Rotary in March of 2022, and I have always been about service. And I learned about Rotary from, Rich Kramer and Josh Silvis. Born and raised here in Muskegon, went to Muskegon High School, Muskegon Community College, and off to Michigan State. My father was a squeeze molder at the foundry down at West Strand that became West Michigan Steel, and told me that I had to go to school because he did not want me to do the same job he did. Well, I'm a insurance agent at Shoreline Insurance, and we are a multi-line agency. I focus on home, auto, and life insurance. I lost my first wife back in 2001 and had talked about getting life insurance on her twice, and we never did it. And I paid the price for that. So I help a lot of people with life insurance just because I firmly believe in it. And I don't care if they buy it from me or not, they have to protect their family. I like pretty much anything outdoors. I do a ton of bike riding. I have a bunch of bikes. I fix bikes. I give people bikes, and I really enjoy it. That's like my meditation time. I have a good prayer life and contemplation, but the bike is where things really get sorted out. And as far as helping Rotary, it's just making people aware that there's such a need out there for just kindness in the world and helping others, just so it's a little better. What I like about Rotary is so many people there have a giving heart. They really want the same thing. They want to help others. They don't want to be given a bunch of credit. They don't want to be, given a billboard or anything. It's just, let's help out other people, because all of us, I think, at Rotary have experienced other people helping us, and we just want to pass that along.
Well, that was lovely and makes me pretty happy to be up here. So thank you, Tom. We now have a Paul Harris Fellowship Awards, and Ginny is going to come up and take over.
It is a little cozy up here, so bear with me. Oh, it's a fine day, is it? For those of you who don't know, November is the month where we focus on the work of the Rotary Foundation. Now, some of you might have gotten an email. I'm not sure how widely distributed it was, but please consider the Rotary Foundation as we go through the month of November and all the important work that you can do by supporting it. Today, in honor of such support, we are going to do a couple of Paul Harris awards. Let's see. Paul Harris, one of the three founders of Rotary, once said, "Dreaming is not so bad if one dreams good dreams and makes them come true." Rotarians make dreams a reality through the Rotary Foundation programs that provide educational opportunities, food, potable water, sanitation, healthcare, immunizations, and shelter for millions of persons here at home and around the world. 1957, Rotary International established the Paul Harris Fellow Award to honor Paul Harris. Rotary International created this eponymous award to express appreciation for the financial support of the humanitarian and educational programs of the Rotary Foundation. This award is one of Rotary's most prestigious honors. However, becoming a Paul Harris Fellow is a milestone, not a destination. We ask those who become Paul Harris Fellows to continue supporting the Rotary Foundation. We recognize them as multiple Paul Harris Fellows for each additional $1,000 contributed to the Rotary Foundation. Today, we will honor two individuals who also dream good dreams and make them come true. I invite Dr. Donald Crandall to come forward and tell us about our honorees.
All right, our first candidate is my wife, Nancy Crandall. Will you come up, Nancy? This was going to be a surprise. I had on my agenda yesterday afternoon to go on Rotary International website and verify some information about the Paul Harris Society, but I got this urgent call from the golf course. And I had to go out and play 18 holes of golf. And I said, Nancy, would you mind going on Rotary International website and get the answers to these questions? I came home afterwards and Nancy was there and she gave me the answers to the questions. She said, by the way, when I was on the site, I thought it was a Paul Harris +7 and they have me down as a Paul Harris +8. I said, oh, imagine that. And then this morning when we're getting ready to come to Rotary, Nancy had her Paul Harris +7 badge setting out. She put it on. I thought she's bringing it here to trade it in. So the surprise was gone. So we're going to honor Nancy with a Paul Harris +8. What that means. I think Nancy is the 5th member of our club. There are Paul Harris +8. That means that for 9 years, she has contributed or someone has contributed in her name $1,000. The next step is when you hit 10,000, you become a member of the Paul Harris Society, which is the next level up. So congratulations to Nancy on Paul Harris +8, and I know you're going to make the next step soon.
Just a minute. Nancy, freeze. So just a little formalization here. Nancy Crandall, you are being honored today as a multiple Paul Harris Fellow in special appreciation for your continuing support of the work of the Rotary Foundation and the many ways in which your life exemplifies the humanitarian and educational objectives of the Rotary Foundation. You were designated to receive this recognition by your husband, Dr. Donald Crandall. And therefore, on behalf of the president of the Rotary International and the chairman of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation, we are pleased to present you with a multiple Paul Harris Fellow pin containing 3 rubies signifying your Paul Harris +8 status. Congratulations. And continue on, Don.
Our next candidate is was born in Ohio. He was the youngest member of a large family, youngest male of a large family. And in that role, anybody that has brothers know that you have to develop wrestling skills to survive at home. Well, this individual honed those wrestling skills to the fact that he ended up at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln as an NCAA All-American wrestler and a Big 8 2-time wrestling champion and a student wrestler. With he's honed his athletic skills lately on the golf course, and he now is a golfer with a handicap of around 10. So if you're looking for a golf match, you know where to find him. After graduating from Nebraska, he took received a bachelor and a doctorate degree from Eastern Michigan University in educational leadership. He served many roles across the state of Michigan and around the country in leadership roles in education. He joined Muskegon Community College about 11 years ago, and he was vice president and provost at that time. He was responsible for many phases of college activity. In that let me see. One of the things that he was involved in, the community college moved from an access university to a student success university. He headed the team at Muskegon Community College to advance student success. We became a hallmark example of student success around the country. And he's gone on to mentor many other institutions in our efforts. We received national awards for our student success and also national awards for our nursing program based on his leadership. We underwent a $54 million expansion program you're all aware of over the past few years. And this individual managed not only to secure some of the state and federal loans, but was the day-to-day construction manager on these 5 major projects over a 2-year period that came in on time, under budget, due to his leadership. In addition to that, we've also had with mass shootings that have gone on at institutions, it became very clear that we had to do something. So this individual, working with other educational institutions in the community and law enforcement, developed a school safety program, and we have active shooting practices at the college, so that all of us are trained in that. His leadership made this possible. We ended up with COVID-19, and this individual, typical of everything he does, working closely with the community health department, other community leaders, statewide and national institutions. He developed a 6-level program for isolation and participation at the college. So whenever there was a question about were we going to wear masks, were we going to have in-class, it was pretty simple. We just looked at the science, followed the protocol, and knew where we ended up. There's more to student success than just in the academics, which he spent a great deal of time with. What we began to realize, or what he began to realize, is that there are a lot of barriers that students have in achieving their educational goals, and they're not educational. They're personal, financial issues that are impacting their ability to get their degrees. So this individual set up the Jayhawk Hub. This hub addresses issues like food insecurity, housing insecurity, makes available clothing for children that or students that need it. If you need transportation, they give out bus cards, gas cards. We work closely with mental health institutions in the community. There's been a significant 3-fold increase in mental health issues since COVID for college students. And this effort he put through in conjunction with several other nonprofits in the community, not duplicating what they're doing, but partnering with them to bring out and support the students and their special needs. So these are the things he's accomplished. We ended up, the college ended up developing a search committee when our past president stepped down after 13 years. We had a good Rotary representation on the search committee. Diana Osborne as chair of the board, Kathy Moore as treasurer, and I was there as a trustee. We had Kathy Blublick-Kark and Steve Olson, 2 more Rotarians. So we had heavy Rotarian participation on the search committee. And we had over 42 applications from across the country, and they all came to us, and those that interviewed directly before the search committee all came with the same message. We're really excited about how cool Muskegon Muskegon Community College is, different organization, and we want to be part of that. Well, it became clear afterwards that we didn't have to go outside to bring someone in who wanted to join us, because we had someone internally that was capable and more than capable. And because he had significant support from the administration, the people that worked with him, from the faculty, from the student body, and also from Muskegon community at large, it was a pretty easy choice for us to make this. So we appointed this individual. During his investiture a month ago, he raised over $32,000. I don't know what it is now, to support the Jayhawk Hub. On a personal note, he and his wife have 2 children, 2 adult children. They've had an active life in Grand Rapids, but with his appointment here to Muskegon, both this individual and Zephyr, stand up, would you please? His wife have moved to downtown Muskegon and becoming part So it's on behalf of Diana Osborne, Kathy Moore, and myself, I would like to present the next Paul Harris Fellowship to John Solomon. John? Okay. All right. So, yeah, so John, in recognition of your Paul Harris Fellowship, here is a medallion to wear on special occasions. Most of us don't wear them to bed. And then there, the Paul Harris Fellow medallion, and then a plaque. Congratulations on being our latest Paul Harris Fellow. Thank you, friend.
One moment. Yeah.
I'm surprised and thank you.
I
I'm
think it-
surprised and thank you. And my wife is supposed to be at Muskegon in Focus. And, and I hope she passes the class. So, well, thank you. This is certainly an honor. Surprised, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you.
If you can wait just a minute. Today, my fellow Rotarians, we move closer to a more peaceful world as Dr. John Solomon becomes a Paul Harris Fellow. John, you are being recognized today as a Paul Harris Fellow in special appreciation for how your life exemplifies the humanitarian and educational objectives of the Rotary Foundation. You were designated to receive this recognition by Dr. Donald Crandall. We encourage you to wear your pin to Rotary events to demonstrate your support for the Rotary Foundation programs that save and invigorate people's lives around the world. Please accept our congratulations and sincere appreciation for your commitment to our shared world understanding and peace goals. Rotarians and friends, please congratulate and recognize the newest Paul Harris Fellow in the world, Dr. John Lee Selman. Congratulations. I'm trying not to take the, should I just keep going or do you want to say something? Oh, yeah, keep going. Okay. Emily, if you could come forward. It is time for our Brave Rotarian contest. Keeping with the work of the Rotary Foundation, the proceeds from this contest are going to go to support Polio Plus in honor of World Polio Day, which was on October 24th. And just a gentle reminder to you brave Rotarians that have not given us your check yet, please do so. Thank you. So Emily, pick a card. Don't worry about it. And who are we? Oh, Jackie, I'm so sorry that you are our poet laureate for today and leaving our Poets Corner, but we are going to, what is her category? Haiku. Let me give you a little discussion on haiku. I will be brief as haiku is. There we go. Sorry, Mike. Okay. Don't touch it. Okay. Haiku is a form of Japanese poetry made of short, unrhymed lines that evoke natural imagery. Haiku can come in various formats of short verse, though the most common is a 3-line poem with 5-7-5 syllable pattern. One of the most famous poets of the art of haiku is Matuso Basho. I'm sure I didn't do it that name justice. Here's an example. An old pond, a frog jumps in, the sound of water. A caterpillar, this deep in fall, still not a butterfly. There you go. So next. Oh, Don, I am so sorry. And what is juxtaposition? Okay, hold on. I have to find that one. 16. Juxtaposition comes from the Latin word juxta, which means to be beside or very near. Like its namesake, it's when two contrasting ideas are placed closely together, such as light and darkness, life and death, or savory ketchup and sweet vanilla ice cream. So this poem that is an example of this is by Billy Collins, who is a former poet laureate. I imagine many of you saw him when he came to Muskegon. I'm not sure when it was, but it was a delightful evening at the Frauenthal with Billy Collins. This poem is called Some Days. Some days I put the people in their places at the table, bend their legs at the knees, if they come with that feature, and fix them into tiny wooden chairs. All afternoon, they face one another, the man in the brown suit, the woman in the blue dress, perfectly motionless, perfectly behaved. But other days, I'm the one who's lifted up by the ribs, then lowered into the dining room of a dollhouse to sit with the others at the long table. Very funny, but how would you like it if you never knew from one day to the next how you were going to spend it? Striding around like a vivid god, your shoulders in the clouds, or sitting down there amidst the wallpaper, staring straight ahead with your little plastic face. Thank you. Can I take the card? Thank you, Emily. And we're sorry you're leaving our Poets Corner.
At one time, I thought as I took over the presidency that I would start every day with a poem. And, you know, people discouraged me from that. I don't know why, but thank you, Jenny, for taking up the mantle. You also, I think, took up the last page of my agenda. You thought I did all of this just ad lib. No, I have something to follow. And the thing that I'm going to say now is announcements and committee reports, and Joni Smith and John, what's his name? Nolan has an announcement. I have a couple myself. One is that I did get a request after last week when we distributed the directory. A befuddled question is, where are the addresses in the contact information? And I like to say that this was from a young person. And so I was able to tell the young person, use your Club Runner, download the mobile app. It's a lot easier, and we will not be printing contact information in the directory anymore, because it does get to be a liability and you're subject to phishing. And so the Club Runner is a members only page. So if you get phished or irritated by anybody, it's your fellow members. That makes it a lot easier. And then the other announcement I have is a continuing one, and that is that our Rotary meeting at the Sin is on the 10th, and tomorrow is the deadline for making your reservation. We have a number of seats left. It's a wonderful evening. So if you're inclined, make your reservation by tomorrow. Now, Joni has something to say.
Hi there. Who can tell me what rye means besides bread? Rotary Youth Exchange. We have been invited to host the District 6290 meeting, and it's next weekend, not this one, but the 11, 12, 13. And so we still need a little bit of help. We've been hard at work getting everything together. But we still need a volunteer to make a large basket of bananas, apples, and oranges unpeeled, just like they are. And if you can do that, please see me or email me or call me. And we also need someone to make a large green salad for 10 people and another person to make a large fruit salad for 10 people. So if those are anything you could manage, we would so appreciate it. I want to thank very much Eileen Stoffen, Rabbi Alan Alpert for offering the temple and St. Paul's Episcopal Church for the kids to meet. And we're going to have a great time. There are going to be about 20 of us celebrating Youth Exchange inbounds and outbounds. Thank you.
Kudos to Jay Wallace Jr. and Bill O'Brien for starting an early act club at Lincoln Park Elementary. I don't know if either of them are in the audience, but we have 10 fifth graders learning about service above self. And this is our first early act club in many years. And I hope you'll stay tuned because some great things are going to happen. I'm representing some 12-year-olds from North Muskegon Middle School who are interactors, who want to partner. We've heard that word partnership today. They want to partner with our club in their annual Turkey Trot food donation collection. So next Thursday, I'll have 2 of these 12-year-olds with me that I hope will help fill my van up with canned goods or boxed foods. The sheet is on your table. All of it to the Muskegon Rescue Mission. If there was ever a time as we start the holiday season to get us in gear with the spirit of giving, I think we can start with the North Muskegon Middle School interactors. I hope you'll be generous next week. I'll have them here to help. If you want us to come to your house and pick up anything, we can do that too. But it's peanut butter, jelly, packaged dinners, spaghetti sauces, cereals, canned fruits, pastas, rice side dishes, canned chicken and tuna fish. That's what they need at the rescue mission. Thank you very much, all.
And now we have time for the raffle. And I found a sheet, 3 raffle tickets that were lost. So if these tickets win, we'll have a good contest at who's going to get the prize. Josh.
$20 winner, 618. $20 winner is 489, 489.
What is it again? 4.
$5 winner, 505, 505.
We always like to have our guests win something. That means they come back, you know. It's not planned. There's no, it's pure chance. Thank you, everybody, for coming here today. Next week, we are going to have the United Way as our presenters. Special thanks to our guest, JJ, Kevin, Janelle, Diana, Chris, Casey, and our friends from Oak Ridge, Kurt, Michael, and Jacqueline. So we will conclude the meeting by our 4-way test. There are things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be actually all concerned?